Hello everyone. If you have made it to these videos, then you know that this is the last week before state testing, so congratulations on making it this far. In this video, we're going to be talking about the number 18 from the spring 2017 released questions for algebra. And the question says the points 0, 1, and 1, 4 are contained in the graph of an equation with only two variables, x and y. Select all of the true statements. The first statement says there is exactly one equation in the form y is equal to mx plus b that contains these points. There are two equations in that same form that contain these points. There are no equations in the form y is equal to a times b raised to the power of x that contain these points. There is exactly one equation in that form, and there is more than one equation in that form. So there's two different types of equations that we're looking at. The first is y is equal to mx plus b. So you should be familiar with that equation. That is a linear equation. And the second one is y is equal to a times b raised to the power of x, and that is an exponential equation. The good thing is that I can use the Desmos calculator to actually tell me what those equations are. So using these forms, I can use the Desmos graphing tool by putting in a table. So I'm going to put in the table and then put in my 2 points. Get my cat out of the way. Put in my 2 points, and my points are 0, 1, so I'm going to put in 0 for x and 1 for y, and then 1, 4, so I'm going to put in 1 for x, 4 for y, and then I'm going to type in the approximation equation for the linear function. So what I want to do is reference the x1 column and the y1 column. So I want to reference these two things specifically. So I have to type in y1 to reference those specific y's. And then I'm going to use the squiggle button, squiggle key that is a tilde. And to type that in, you put shift, and then next to the 1, there's a key that has the tilde. And I'm going to type in mx1 plus b. So what I basically did was take that equation, and instead of y, I put in y1 to reference those specific y's. Instead of x, I put in x1 to reference those specific x's. And then I put in this tilde instead of the equal sign to reference that it's approximately equal to. And what I end up with is a specific m and a specific b and an r value of 1. The r value of 1 means that that is a completely correct equation to match those 2 points. So because it's r is equal to 1, that means it's not an approximation. This is the actual equation through those 2 points. And if you look at your graph over here, you can see that the equation does go through those 2 points. And you could write that equation as y is equal to 3x plus 1 because we're given the m and the b. So we know that as far as our linear equations are concerned, there is exactly one equation of that form that contains the points because we found out what that equation is. And then I can also do this for exponential equations by completing the same process but putting the a times b raised to the power of x instead. So y1 squiggle a times b raised to the power of x1. Just make sure that you're using y1 and x1 to reference that specific table. And again, we end up with an r value of 1. So we're given one specific equation with an a of 1, a b of 4, and that is the specific equation that goes through those 2 points. So I know that there is exactly one equation in linear form that contains those points, and there is exactly one equation in this form that contains those points. So those are the 2 correct answers. You have to select both of them. And all of the rest contradict because it either says there's 2 or more than 1 or no equations that match those. And we found the 2 equations. It doesn't really matter what they are specifically, but you can find that from Desmos using those the approximation tools and seeing that your R value, your correlation coefficient, is exactly equal to 1, which means it is an exact match for both of those equations. Make sure to click the link in the description to complete a Google form with a practice question similar to this. And let your teacher know if you have any questions as far as state testing. I know it's coming up really, really soon, so we're running out of time and we want to make sure that all of your questions are being answered. So I will not see you next week since this is the last week. Good luck on your state test and let us know if you have any questions.